Global Tea Break Podcast with your hosts Alan Hennessy and D. Scott Smith.
Remember, a cup of tea can change the world.
Hello and good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to you, wherever you are in this world. Welcome to the Global Tea Break Podcast. And if you're watching it on YouTube, it's the vodcast as well. This is episode 1 of our brand new podcast. We are so looking forward to this. I am joined, of course, by my good friend and colleague and co-founder of the Global Tea Break, Mr. D. Scott Smith. How are you, Scott? Good to see you again today.
Oh, Alan, it is always a pleasure to be on screen with you. And, I look forward to a live event sometime when we can be in the same space in 3D, as my wife says.
Yes, exactly. Well, today, guys, we have a super exciting podcast and show for you. Today, we are joined by our very first guest on the podcast here, and she is no stranger to podcasting and to the world of live streaming as well, and so much more. And we're going to learn so much more. So I think, Scott, without further ado, I think we'll invite our guest in and say hello. So let's bring Kami in here.
Hey, tea breakers.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Great to see you.
We are delighted to have you on the show, and we're delighted to have you on the podcast. The very first one, which is pretty cool, and we are delighted. In fairness, and I'm being a little bit biased, but I think you had to be the first one. You have been such a huge supporter of the tea break to us all, and helped us so much, and we've had so many fantastic chats over the last number of years with you. So I think it was only fitting that we bring you on as our first guest today. Would you agree, Scott?
I am so honored to be first guest. I am so honored. Thanks, guys, so much. You've built something really amazing, and I've been glad to be just a small part of that.
We never knew where the tea break was going to go when we first started the conversation about getting together online digitally. It was just a small idea and grabbed a few people and came in. But the people that came in started attracting more people, and the community just became something very special. And I'll say we started right before the pandemic and the lockdown, and it really became a refuge for so many of us.
Yeah, it did. And, as we said, and I suppose in our first episode, how much it has grown and what it has brought so many people together, which is really, really powerful. And I think it's great. And as I said, this is the next entity. I suppose here we are now with our very own podcast. Whoever thought that 3.5 years ago when we started this, that we'd be saying, oh, well, we have a podcast now as well. So, I just think it's amazing the way time has traveled and time has changed and the way we've grown with the community as well.
And let's get to know
And I
Kami.
think that makes so much sense. Oh, sorry to interrupt, but I think it makes so much sense because you guys have attracted so many quality people into your tea break. So I'm sure you'll talk more about that at some point. But the people that come to the tea break are world-class people that are in their own right, very established, and also people that are getting started. So it's really an interesting dichotomy of people that are there for all of that connection. And from the beginning, I could feel how special it was, and just been glad to be part of it.
Well, and you are no stranger to building community. And we're going to find out about that as we have this conversation today here on episode 1 of the Global Tea Break Podcast.
And I think we should kick it off with the way we are going to kick off every show on this podcast. So, Scott, I'll let you ask the first question.
Yes, the first question, because this is the Global Tea Break Podcast. Kami, what is your favorite tea?
Well, I have it right here. So that was one of the coolest things about the tea break. I was like, yay, it's going to be about tea and not coffee. I drink tea and only tea. And chai tea is my absolute favorite, but not with all the sugar because I can't do all the sugar. So I've put myself together a special blend that I drink every single morning. So chai tea is my favorite.
I love that. Your own special blend. That's the Kami Huyse chai.
Yes, it's the Kami Huyse chai. It's 3 different tea bags from 3 different brands. Seriously.
I think it's great to it's I think the thing about it is, okay, so let's look at this and sort of say to ourselves, okay, I'm just sitting here thinking of tea and I'm going, okay, well, in Ireland here we have there's sort of two main brands of tea, and
Mhm.
there's always a huge debate about which is the better. So there's a Lion's tea and there's a Barry's tea. Now I have to admit I am a Lion's tea man, but and I always have been for some reason or other. It's just thing, but it is amazing when you get your own blend of tea, and there's like I've you can walk into any shop and you just see the amount of different types of tea that you can have, and you go, "Wow, this is fantastic." And I think that's where, in the sense with the global tea break, it was always I always said, when people say, "Oh, let's jump on and have a coffee," and I go, well, no, let's change it up a bit and call it tea. So, it sort of has gone through it. So we now have the tea breakers and it's just fantastic.
And let's analyze this for a moment. So, Cami likes chai tea. She doesn't like all of the sugar, and so she took 3 different tea bags and she blends them together, and that's what she has every day. This is the entrepreneurial spirit that is represented in the tea break. So we have a lot of
And the pea
entrepreneurs.
protein milk. I also put milk in it, but it's a pea protein called Ripple
See,
milk.
See, this whole thing is that with the tea break, the community, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, and I will say entrepreneurial minded people, because you can have that mindset and work for a small, medium, or large company. But the entrepreneurial mindset says, I don't like the way things are. And so I am going to make my own chai tea by bringing together 3 different types of tea, blend it together with a certain type of milk. That this combination doesn't exist. It wouldn't exist if you didn't have this mindset that says, I am going to make it better for myself and better for others. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys because I love you, I'll give you the secret. It's Harney and Sons hot cinnamon spice, Celestial Seasonings Bengal spice, which gives you this a slight sweetness, and then the last part is Tazo chai tea, and those 3 go together into the big Yeti that my son gave me, and then I let that sit for about 15 minutes and let it really soak in, and then I put in the Ripple milk on top, and it's amazing, like amazing. It tastes so good.
Check the show notes.
Yeah, we'll,
That's the
we'll have
recipe. There it is.
yeah, we'll have the recipe in the show notes, definitely for that. So I suppose the next question that we want to ask, and these are all sort of these preliminary questions, sort of just to get everyone going and whatever. I suppose if you were to, and we know you love tea and whatever. So if you were to go and share a cup of tea with someone, who would it be? And that's one of those questions that I always love to ask, because it always gives you an insight into the person. So who would you like to share a cup of tea with?
So this
Oh,
tripped me up this morning as I was thinking about this because there's several people. I always say when people ask me this question, who would you have dinner with? Who would you have lunch with? I always say Mother Teresa because she actually gave me this medal when whenever I was a young 20 something. She came and visited the US Capitol, and I was working in Washington, DC. And my coworker's husband was the head of security at the US Capitol building. And so she was coming, she goes, we might be able to get you in to see her. Well, they couldn't because I just was a nobody. But she had brought these medals with her and she gave me one. She sent me one because I couldn't come. That was so cool. So I've always said that I wanted to do that, but I feel like she's very entrepreneurial too. So if you understand what she did, she built an entire basically empire
mm,
with her order that she put together, the Orders of Charity, because she went from like basically zero herself to like thousands of nuns that were in that, and they were serving all over the world. So I thought she was entrepreneurial. So I kind of do that. But the other one that is really, I'm going to cheat and tell you too. The other one that I really love, and it kind of is more recent to me, is Hedy Lamarr. And Hedy Lamarr was a film actress, and I'm trying to remember exactly when she was born, like early 1900s. Like I have it written down, 1914. Sorry, she was born in 1914, and she died in the year 2000. She was born in Vienna, and she was an actress, and she starred in a movie when she was 16 that was pretty scandalous. I'll be honest. They tricked her into doing a nude scene that she didn't mean to do. But she found herself in a situation where she married this guy who ended up being like a huge like arms dealer to the Nazis. By the way, she's Jewish, just FYI. And so she like escaped him and moved to Hollywood. Like she hired a maid that looked like her and then dressed like the maid and put like some sleeping powder in her maid's drink and escaped and went all the way to the United States, went to Hollywood, and then became a star in
Yeah.
Hollywood. Okay, so that's a kind of a person. Very, very interesting. Well, what's even more interesting about her, so that's just only part of it. The other part is that she invented with a guy who also plays the piano, like one of the guys there, and I'm trying to remember his name, but anyway, they invented the underpinnings for what became Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. She invented that just sitting around playing on the piano. They came up with a skipping method that then the US Navy, like, they took it on. That's how they were able to, confuse bombs and things like that. That's the underpinning of during World War II. So, yeah, I mean, unbelievable. This woman, just really smart, really entrepreneurial, and she kept reinventing herself. Do you know what I'm saying? She reinvented herself
Mm.
over and over and over and over again. And I kind of really, that's my story too. I would call myself the queen of reinvention because I've reinvented myself multiple times. And yeah, so that's kind of what I want to bring today. So Hedy Lamarr, and then of course Mother Teresa, because again, like a entrepreneurial nun. I mean, what can you do with that?
Yeah. And of course, with Mother Teresa, she built, as much as being an entrepreneur and stuff like that, she
Mhm,
also built so many communities as well, which
mhm,
when you think about it, like the amount of communities that she built around the world that she sort of fronted, but and I always remember I seen an interview with her many years ago, and she just came across as so not assuming, just doing what she was put in this earth to do, which I always found very, very moving. That she
mhm,
was never sort of, oh, look at me, look at what I've done. It was just,
mhm.
this is what I'm here to do.
But then she
And
did win the Nobel Peace Prize and a bunch of
yeah,
other stuff too, so she was amazing, and she did have her critics. I'll be honest, she does have her critics because, some people said that some of the places she had weren't as well run as they should be. They were reusing
mm,
needles. I mean, there's some critical things about her, but also anytime that you put your head above the waterline, you're gonna get those critics.
of course you are, of course you are. There's no
So
doubt about it. Of course, there's no doubt
mhm,
about it.
And those people that were complaining weren't there to fix it. They didn't jump in. And so,
mhm,
but I love that because again, this gives us an insight into Cami. Uh, Here you are, a tea entrepreneur, at least within your realm, right? Saying, I see something, I don't like the way it is, and so I'm going to make a change. Mother
mhm,
Teresa saw something that was not right, and she said something needs to be done, and she didn't stop there. Many people say, yes, somebody should do something. She
mhm.
jumped in. Hedy Lamarr saw a situation that was not rational, and she found a way out of it, but didn't just get out of it for her own benefit, if you will. She found ways to help and make life better for other people. What a great life!
Interesting, right? And a really interesting person. I just find that I would have loved to have just had tea with her and pick her brain. I wouldn't I hate it when people ask if they could pick your brain, but just, spend time with her. That'd be great.
Okay, so tell us what is going on. As Scott has always says, what is going on in your world? So we want to find out what's going on in Cami's world at the moment.
And as we said, you are no stranger to building community.
No, I mean, that is pretty much what I think is the killer app. Everybody says, "What's the secret to growing in social media? What's the secret to growing anything?" And I always say, community is at the center of that. It's what I call the killer app, is community. So, like, if you're looking for what's new, what's great, I mean, Threads is all the thing, right? For a minute. I love Threads, by the way, a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I love Threads. But On the other hand, Threads is a app that Meta put out, or not Meta. Yeah, Meta. It's Meta.
Yeah, yeah,
Meta
Meta.
put out. So Meta did. So you've got Instagram, Facebook, and now Threads. So I love Threads, but in the end of the day, it's really about who the people are on each platform and how you can connect with them, and that is what causes growth. That is what causes success. It like millions and millions of followers don't make any difference. It matters like the connection that you have with those followers, right? So that's to me the most important thing. You can have 10 followers and be much more influential than somebody that has 20,000.
It's interesting. I'm working with a company that they have on their Instagram account quite a number of followers,
Mhm.
but their engagement is really low. And when I first was looking at it, I looked at the number of posts they have, which was pretty light, and the number of followers they have. And I said, well, there's one of two things. People love you and they couldn't wait for you to share content, or somebody said, we need to grow this account and go out and they bought tens of thousands of
Possible.
followers.
That's probably what happened. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not always true. Like there are what I call legacy accounts. Like if you've had them for a really, really long time. For example, my Twitter account, I've had it forever, and my growth there was really meteoric and in a certain era. And then a lot of those people just kind of don't engage there anymore.
Mhm.
So you don't get as much engagement as you used to. So sometimes the algorithm can change, and what was working before doesn't anymore. So I don't want to outright accuse people of buying things, but
But when it's a
there
new account, then
yeah,
you
okay,
think
yeah, you bought
something's
those.
not right. Now, I remember many years ago when X was called Twitter, and it was new back in
Sorry, I still call it Twitter.
2007.
Sorry.
Back in 2007, and I remember George Clooney had an account. He had zero posts. He had never tweeted anything, and he had nearly 1 million followers because
Sure.
people were just waiting for George Clooney. Now that
To
made
say
sense.
something.
Yeah, and it's
It's
gas
like
when
that
you
song, "Say something, I'm giving up on you."
yeah, and it's gas because I was actually only on or on X the other day, and yet if you look at the URL, it still says twitter.com.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going, really? Make up your mind, one or the other type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't wanna get too deep into that, but I mean, I guess I mean, I am Gen X, so I should probably like I should like, absorb that. We barely ever get anything named after us. But hey.
But I wanted to go in a little bit more about these communities.
Mhm.
So we've got
Yes.
your high level view, right? I mean, it is all about community, whatever the
Correct.
platform you're on. But tell us about some of these communities that you've built.
Sure. So, from the beginning, that was a really important part of me. I've built some brand communities. We built a wild side community, which was a mommy blogging and parenting community that was connected with SeaWorld. I ran that for 5 years. I've built Social Media Breakfast of Houston, which is sort of similar to Global Tea Break, but more localized. And I built that. We are in our 15th year of Social Media Breakfast, and we've had to reinvent that a couple of times. I mean, COVID took its toll on that community. It did. So we're kind of in rebuilding mode right now. And then we also have built I've built an online community called Smart Social Mastery, which is a membership community, really. And that is it's building as we go, but we have students in that, and we're all working together. Thanks, guys, for being a part of that and supporting that. But we're working together to build our own online visibility so that we can run our businesses from a thought leadership position, which I think is very powerful if you can do that, because people are looking for answers to their problems, and they're looking for a pathway, like instead of just a lot of choices. So you can come out and give them, hey, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. But then you're left with, well, what do I do then? Like, which one? So, yeah, I think that's really, I love working with this community. I love being in it and holding people to accountability. You guys have a lot of accountability communities too, especially you, D. Scott. You're doing that all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
It's something that's necessary, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
we're all in this together, and if we encourage each other and support each other, Uh, we also don't want to disappoint each other. So if I make a commitment to Alan, then I don't want to show up empty handed.
And I think that accountability is huge, because what it is, I think so many people, they procrastinate and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do that," but when you're
Mhm.
held accountable and you have to, deliver, it really does. It spurs you on, but it gives you that impotence to really start to work, because it opens up the door, I think, to so much more, because you start to then develop these ideas that okay, I have to have this done for this week and whatever it may be. But I think it opens up the door to opportunities that sometimes you may even pass you by, that you mightn't even have thought about. So I think there's a lot of good when it comes to having accountability, and being in a community as much as anything else. I think one of the things with, especially with community, is that you feel when you're part of a community that you're part of something bigger, but you also don't want to be left behind. So you're going to be more engaging, and it's going to help you to move forward. I think that's a really important part of what community is really built on.
So that's a really good point, Alan, because I really do think that having a community that keeps you in line, that spurs you on, it really shows you that social proof, right? You see other people doing the thing that you want to be doing, and part of it is that self motivation for us. Like we
Mm,
doubt ourselves, and we aren't. We look at what we're doing, but we kind of put it on the back shelf. But if somebody is spurring us on all the time, like, where are you at on that project? How far have you come along on that? And that actually works great. If you see other people doing the same thing, that actually really helps you to get a lot further in what you're trying to get accomplished. So I think that, Smart Social Mastery, which is going along the bottom, thank you so much for showing that, is our group that does that. And we really work with coaches and consultants that honestly do this for other people all the time. Like this is like their bread and butter, right? They go out and they help other
mm,
people get visibility and grow. And guess what? They don't do it themselves. They just don't do it
yeah,
themselves. They put it on the back burner. They put it off. It's something I call the Friday list, where they have this list, and at the end of the week, which is today is Friday while we record this, they look at what's at the end of the list, which is usually the stuff that's for them and their business, and they move it to the
yeah,
next week, and they move it to
yeah.
the next week, to the next week.
It's so true. And like I'm hold my hand up straight away and say, yeah, I do that, because it's like people say to me, "Oh, well, I see you online," and yeah, and I go, "Okay, yeah, I am," and they say, "But I don't see you doing a lot of this," and I'm going, "Well, do you know that brand and that brand and that brand? Well, that's me doing all that for them," and they go, "Oh, right, okay,"
Yeah.
and that's when you sort of question yourself. You say, well, I should be really doing this myself as well. Into so that's where I think smart social mastery is brilliant, because it's really kept me on track, and it's also as well, it's opened up my eyes as much to things that I haven't been doing, or that I know I should be doing, but sometimes you don't formulate it enough, and then you've so much that goes on in this group, and in the community, that really makes you go, okay, right, I need to step back and fill this in and fill this in, and then all of a sudden you've got this
Mhm.
incredible roadmap that you can use, and it's just, when you start doing it, I just find it really helps you to focus in on what you're doing and understand as well. So, I think that's the key point of this.
So, Cami, the Smart Social Mastery, as you mentioned, is a membership community. And this is one of those things that is really important. Investing in yourself and investing in your business and taking time. And we hear this. Don't just work in your business, work on your business, which is a great bumper sticker. But what do you actually do? And so, Smart Social Mastery, that membership door this isn't a revolving door. It opens and it closes, but I believe that you mentioned that it is open now. So why don't you tell us about that and how people get involved and what it looks like and how to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. So, here's the thing. We're open right now. I like to invest a lot into the students that are a part of this group. So, we try to keep it small, and we try to keep people moving in the same direction. So, here's the really interesting thing. The cost of doing Smart Social Mastery is less than going out to a fancy dinner with your, significant other, once a month. It's I keep it under $100 on purpose. I keep it under $100 because I want um, I want small business owners to be able to afford it and to invest in themselves. And I also want you to put your money on the table because then you actually do the work. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that, it's very easy not to do the work if you just don't have any investment in it. And so it's really designed for consultants and coaches. A lot of them are PR marketing. I mean, that's sort of my world, right? So a lot of them are in that. You can be a business coach, you can be whatever, but a business coach and people that do service industries. The reason why is because service industry people are serving so much that they don't serve themselves. We just talked about that. And that is where my heart is. My heart is to serve the service people so they can serve more people. And guess what? That increases my impact in the world too by doing that. Like by helping you to serve more people, I am technically helping serve more people in the world. So again, Mother Teresa, right? That's a big thing for me. Like it's a big thing for me to find communities and serve into them. I mean, that's why I've run social media breakfast for 14 years for no pay. I mean, nobody pays to be in it. It's something I do grassroots every single month for 14 years. It's just in my ethos to do that. So Smart Social Mastery, you can guarantee that's going to be a place where we're going to like just serve you. Like we're going to serve you. We're going to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. We're going to reach out to you when we don't hear from you. By the way, guys, let me know what's up. So let's just do that. Right. So I think that that's important. So if that's something that sounds good to you, that you would be in a group of peers like that, Smart Social Mastery is open. We're open for a couple more weeks till about mid-October, somewhere in there. I think we're going to close right on I think it's the 14th, right after social media breakfast is coming up. So I'll shut it right after that. I'll give my local community just one more chance to get in. And that's it. And then we'll close the doors until next year. And then we will close the hatches and we will work to make sure that you have a visibility platform in place where you are attracting clients, where you are doing your best work. So you'll be ready for 2024 and beyond. So that's what we do. And I would love to have you there. So you just go to smartsocialmastery.com or reach out to me, DM me in LinkedIn, wherever you are, and let me know what your interest is. If you have questions, I'm here. That's what I do. So yeah.
Brilliant. And as we said, if you do want to reach out to you, the easiest place probably to get you is kamihuyse.com, and you'll find all the links to all of the fantastic, incredible work that you're doing.
There's so many things.
There's
I have an
so
agency.
many.
I didn't say that. I have an agency too. So, we do done for you this services as well.
So much. I don't know where you get the time. That's embarrassing what I think. So yeah, no, thanks so much.
What is sleep? Why should you have any of that?
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, you can do. And sleep is only for wimps, as they say. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I like to stay up half the night and then go, okay. But anyway, but it's been an absolute pleasure, and we are so delighted to have you on the podcast and on the video cast as well today. And don't forget, if you do want to find out more about Kami, it is kamihuyse.com. You can also go to Smart Social Mastery as well, because that's where all of the good stuff is. And Scott, have you want to say a few words before we finish up today?
Yeah, I just love that episode 1 is with Kami, because you've been there really since the beginning of the Tea Break, and have been just a great supporter, great sponsor, invited so many wonderful people to the Tea Break community. So on behalf of Alan and myself, I just say, Kami Huyse, thank you for being a remarkable human being.
Thank you, Kami.
Right back at you.
We're going to finish up here today. Thanks, Kami, again, and we shall talk to you soon. So there we go. It is our first official podcast, and we are delighted, as we said, to have Kami on as our first guest today. Scott, anything you want to share before we finish up today?
Well, it's just been a lot of fun. It's been great to be a part of the Tea Break community, to watch it grow and evolve, to watch the members work with each other and support and encourage each other. And but I think it's time to wash up and put things away.
Yeah, we go and put them teacups away. So, guys, don't forget, if you do want to get in contact with either myself or Scott, you can visit the website at the globalteabreak.com for more information. And please do subscribe to this podcast, because the more people that are subscribed and the more people that are sharing it, the more we can bring you really interesting and great podcasts episodes, as well as the live stream. You can also find us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and you can actually watch the video recording of this particular podcast as well. Or if you're watching it on YouTube, you can go and you can listen to it on Spotify. You can also find it on Apple Podcasts, and also now on Google Podcasts as well. So do come and check them out. And as I said, we are always delighted to hear from you. So if you were interested in coming on as a guest, please get in contact with us. So until the next time, I think it is time for us to say goodbye, good luck, and have a great week. And we shall talk to you soon. Until next time, as I always say, be social. And remember, a cup of tea can change the world. Let's go wash up, Scott. What do you think? Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's get it done. Cheers.
Join Alan and Scott the next time for a cup of tea and chat here on the Global Tea Break Podcast.